So I want to share with you some thoughts on improving safety performance, all right? Let me ask you to do me a favor first. I'd like everybody to just raise your right hand as high as you can. Just raise your right hand as high as you can. And then do me a favor, go a little bit higher. All right, excellent. All right, put your hands down. So my first request to you was to raise your right hand as high as you can. And you did this. And then I said, go a little bit higher, and what did almost all of you do? You stretched and went higher. So why didn't you go as high as you possibly could when I first asked you to? Do I have a bunch of slackers here? Is that what, some of you going, yeah, Roy, we've got a bunch of them here, right? Now, you and I are used to performing at certain levels, and for us to go over and above that, we have to be either motivated, persuaded, influenced, or guided. But the point I want to make to you is that we can always do more. We can always do better. And, over the years, safety has changed. The way we manage safety has changed. I was working for a project, a Brown and Root project down in Sweeney, Texas. How many of you know where Sweeney is? Down south here. And the project manager said, Roy, I want to take you in my pickup truck and run the site so that you can see what the site looks like. They were building a plant for Phillips Petroleum. And as we were driving around in this project manager's truck, I see a guy standing out nearby the road. And I said, what's that guy's job? And he said, that's our safety lookout. And I said, oh, he looks out to make sure people are working safe. He said, no, he lets us know when somebody from the safety department drives on the project, okay? And that was his job. He had a radio code to let them know that somebody has come on the project. So, and by the way, I was there was a company in Anaheim, California that I was doing work for. It's called Pepper Construction. And Pepper Construction was on a big project. They were doing work for Disneyland. And the CEO of Pepper Construction is a guy named Mark Thurman. And Mark Thurman was on a project. He was walking through a project, and they had brought in a consultant that teaches them how to talk differently. And this consultant said, you don't want to use the word you. You want to start using the word we and us. So Mark Thurman is walking by this young guy up on a scaffold, and he sees that the scaffold doesn't have the crossbars to prevent him from falling. So he's taken this new communication class. And Mark Thurman tells this young guy up on the scaffold, he says, hey, I see that we are working up on the scaffold and that we do not have the crossbars to prevent us from falling. And the young guy looks down at him. He doesn't know who Mark Thurman is. He just looks at him and he knows the guy's talking to him. And so he looks down and he tells Mark Thurman, he said, why don't we get up here and help me put them on? All right? So Mark Thurman takes off his coat, he climbs up the scaffold, helps him put on the crossbars, and the young guy keeps looking at him and he says, by the way, who the hell are you? He said, I'm Mark Thurman, I'm president and CEO of the company. And the young guy tells him, I guess we are in big trouble now. All right. So I want to give you some ideas here on how this works, and I'm going to do some demonstrations, but I'm going to need some volunteers, all right? So let me ask you, I need a couple of big guys. Who's the biggest guys I've got in this room? All right? All right. How many gentlemen do I have over 6 foot tall? All right. Nobody, huh? All right. Nobody. You can't be scared, all right? All right. What's your name, sir? Are you the city manager?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Come on up here, Matt. All right, I'll take Matt first, all right? All right. So, Matt, are you right-handed?
Yes, sir.
Nothing wrong with your right shoulder, no injuries? Okay, so what I want to do with Matt, he's a little bit bigger than me, but what I want to do with Matt is I want to show you how both internal communication and external communication affects us not only psychologically, but mentally, emotionally, and physically as well. So what I'm going to do with Matt is what's called muscle testing. Now, this is not strength testing, this is muscle testing. So Matt is right-handed. So I'm going to ask Matt to put his right arm out parallel to the floor. I'm going to press on his wrist. I'm going to ask him to resist. I'm going to put 80 to 100 pounds on his right wrist. Ask him to resist. And all we're doing, if you go to a chiropractor that practices applied kinesiology, they test you to see if everything's working properly on that side of the body, and they call it muscle testing through applied kinesiology. So we're going to test and make sure everything's working. So Matt, if you'll put your arm up. So I'm going to press down. Matt, you resist. Ready? Resist. All right, Matt's a big guy. For me to get that arm down would be tremendously hard, okay? But I want to show you how communication affects you every single day, all right? And I'm going to take right here 1, 2, 3, 4 people, one at a time. I want you to look at Matt and tell Matt, Matt, you're doing a lousy job. Go ahead. All right? Yeah, you get to say it, all right?
Matt, you're doing a lousy job.
Ma'am?
Matt, you're doing a lousy
Yeah, ma'am?
Matt, you're doing a lousy
Ma'am? All right, Matt, put your arm back up again, Matt. All right, Matt, with everything you got. Ready? Go. Well, it goes down. So you understand, he's not as strong anymore. He's not, and you can't be as strong anymore just because of negative language, the negative language that's showing up. So we want to start changing that around. So now I need 4 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, is to tell Matt, Matt, you're doing a fantastic job.
Matt, you're doing a fantastic job.
Sir?
Matt, you're doing a fantastic job.
Shell? Fantastic job, Matt. All right, Matt. Put your arm back up again, Matt. See if you notice a difference, Matt. Ready? Yeah, all right, good. Thank you, Matt. Give him a hand, will you? Thank you. If you could do this job better, what might be a way of doing it better? You're asking a question, but now you're getting them to think about solutions and answers and possibilities. So it's all in the way you communicate to yourself and to each other. So here's some examples that we're going to have today. I'm going to ask you to do some affirmations in just a minute. And a process of affirmations is how you start programming your brain for more success. And then speaking to each other. You know, when I work with supervisors, frontline supervisors, I always ask the question, when was the last time you gave your people praise and recognition? And what do you think are some of the responses I hear? Never is one of them, you know. Praise and recognition. People work much harder for you if you're given a lot of praise and recognition. Instead of trying to correct things that they're doing wrong, your focus should be on what are they doing right, and let me give them praise and recognition on what they're doing right. If you start doing that, what they are doing wrong starts to correct itself. So it's a much more positive attitude in doing it that way, okay? So we're going to practice a few affirmations. I'm going to close it out and here in just a minute. I know everybody is excited about getting back to work now that you've heard me speak, right? So here's what we're going to do. I'd like for you to stand up. Stand up right now. Everybody stand up. All right. Thank you. And what we're going to do is we're going to practice an affirmation. Affirmations are things that you say to yourself on a regular basis. By the way, advertisers found that they have to repeat a message to you at least 180 times over time for you to be programmed subconsciously. So here's what I want you to say out loud. I'm going to do it very slowly. You're going to say this affirmation. You're going to take a deep breath. And you're going to say, I am calm and relaxed. Say that now. Calm and relaxed. And I recognize my own self-worth. And I recognize my own self-worth. I am good enough. My life is easy and joyful. By the way, that's a lie. Okay. And most of you already know that, but The way you program your subconscious is you just keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and eventually your subconsciously starts to buy into it, your subconscious. So again, take a deep breath. I was working with Intel senior managers in Phoenix, Arizona, right outside of Phoenix and Chandler. And I gave this exercise to the senior managers, and I was back a few weeks later, and one of the managers said, Roy, I've tried to write down something every night, and I just couldn't think of anything. And he said, but you know, after a few weeks, I recognized that there were things in my life that were happening that were very positive, only I didn't recognize them then as positives. So there's a lot of positive things happening in your life right now. Don't focus just on negatives and the problems and challenges that you have. So write down your 3 positive experiences every night. You have to write them down on a piece of paper or at a computer, and then 30 days in a row. If you miss a day, you start all over. So that's your exercise. The last exercise, we're going to do 2 affirmations. You want to start practicing affirmations. Norm knows how to get a hold of me if you want to ask me some questions on getting started with some of these exercises. So here's the first affirmation. By the way, we're going to do these affirmations in a very specific way, and I don't have time to explain to you why they work this way, but they do dramatically well. So what you're going to do, right now, you're going to make a picture in your mind of you strong, healthy, and energetic. You're going to make that picture in your mind. As you're making that picture in your mind, you're going to say, I'm getting stronger and healthier every day. We're going to say that out loud in unison together. I'm getting stronger and healthier every day. And as you're saying that out loud, you're going to take your 2 index fingers like this and bounce them in rhythm, chest high, as you say, I'm getting stronger and healthier every day, and as you're making that picture in your mind. Make the picture now of you strong, healthy, and energetic. Put your fingers up and then say, I'm getting stronger and healthier every day. Do it again. I'm getting stronger and healthier every day. When you do that, Stanford University found that your white blood cell count goes up instantaneously 25%. Just by saying an affirmation. By the way, there's actually books written on how affirmations help heal people. So just that, and that comes from Stanford University on just how you say specific affirmations in a way to start improving your health as well. So the last affirmation, and you want to start on an affirmation program beginning today, you can contact me or let Norm know you're interested in talking to me. I want you to make a picture of you right now in your mind of you confident and successful. How are you going to stand? How are you going to breathe when you're confident and successful? And as you're making that picture, you're going to say out loud, I am a winner. And again, you're going to take your 2 index fingers like this, bounce them in rhythm, chest high, and say, I am a winner. Put your fingers up. Make that picture of you confident and successful, and say, I am a winner. Louder. I am a winner. So start treating yourself like a winner and start treating each other the same way. Thank y'all for having me.